In ancient geopolitics, the Ark functioned as a localized kinetic weapon of cosmic sovereignty, an object engineered to level city walls and part rivers. Yet, when Babylonian forces, led by Nebuchadnezzar, breached the walls of Jerusalem in 587 BCE, the Ark vanished from the historical record. It appears in neither the detailed Babylonian plunder inventories nor the later records of the Second Temple. This absence from the official inventory of spoils is a significant structural silence. If the Ark had been present during the siege, it likely would have been seized as the ultimate trophy, its disappearance suggesting it was moved to a secure location long before the Babylonian army arrived. The Kebra Nagast, Ethiopia's national epic and legal chronicle, details the foundation for this movement, a 10th century BCE alliance between Queen Makeda of Sheba and King Solomon. This alliance established the Solomonic dynasty, a royal bloodline ruling Ethiopia for nearly 3,000 years, ending with the deposition of Haile Selassie in 1974. According to the text, when Menelik I, the son of King Solomon and Queen Makeda, finally left Jerusalem to establish his new kingdom in Africa, he was accompanied by the firstborn sons of Israel's high priests. These young elites executed a slop, placing a wooden replica in the Holy of Holies to mask the removal of the gold-plated chest. Under the cover of night, they moved the true Ark toward the African interior, using the vast deserts of Egypt as a geographic shield against pursuit. The Kebra Nagast records this survival as the result of a highly organized, state-sponsored extraction operation. Transporting a massive, sacred object across thousands of miles requires secure military way stations. On Elephantine Island in southern Egypt, archaeologists discovered the ruins of a fully functioning Jewish temple dating to the 5th century BCE. This temple represents a massive departure from standard practice, as Jewish law strictly prohibited sacrificial worship outside of Jerusalem. The sanctuary hypothesis posits that loyal Levite guardians used this island fortress as a military sanctuary for the Ark during periods of religious upheaval in Judea. Elephantine served as a heavily guarded holding pen, securing the artifact until it could be pushed further south into the highlands. The route followed the Blue Nile into the Ethiopian highlands, a region protected by jagged, naturally fortified mountain ranges. The Ark was allegedly taken to Tana Kirkos, a remote island on Lake Tana, where it remained for 8 centuries. Monks on the island still maintain stone sacrificial altars and bronze bowls that align with pre-Talmudic Israelite rituals. This geographic isolation protected the relic, while empires in the Near East and Mediterranean collapsed or were conquered. In the 4th century CE, the Aksumite Empire converted to Christianity under King Ezana. Ezana constructed the Church of Our Lady Mary of Zion to serve as the permanent sanctuary for the Ark. To this day, the relic is kept in the Chapel of the Tablet, a structure strictly off-limits to everyone, including the nation's president and the church patriarch. Custody is held by a single individual, the guardian of the Ark. He is a monk selected by a council for his perceived spiritual purity. Once appointed, the guardian is confined to the sanctuary grounds for life, where he privately trains a single successor to maintain the secret. If these accounts are accurate, this unbroken chain of guardians has maintained a continuous security protocol for over 1,600 years, shielding the artifact through centuries of external war and revolution. But what happens when this isolated secret becomes the target of a modern imperial superpower? In Part 2, we track British military intelligence and the 1868 expedition to Magdala, uncovering the trail that leads to the secret vaults of London. In late 1867, 44 Indian war elephants and 13,000 soldiers began hacking a 400-mile road through the jagged mountain passes of East Africa. London claimed this was a rescue mission for British diplomats held in the mountain fortress of Magdala, but the price tag for that rescue was £9 million, over $1 billion in today's currency. To reach the fortress, the British had to build roads and maintain massive supply lines, effectively moving an entire industrial city across the Ethiopian peaks. The sheer weight of this logistical machine suggests the Crown was securing an asset that justified a $1 billion investment. Embedded within this military column was Richard Rivington Holmes, an elite scholar from the British Museum's Manuscripts Department. At the time, the British elite were preoccupied with sacred antiquarianism, the belief that controlling the primary physical relics of the ancient world was essential to global sovereignty. Holmes carried a specific state-funded mandate. He was there to systematically acquire the rarest historical and sacred objects of the Ethiopian Empire, whether by purchase or by force. With Holmes on the front lines, the mission shifts from a military retaliation to a state-sanctioned antiquarian heist. When the British military breached Magdala on April 13, 1868, Emperor Tewodros II took his own life rather than face capture. With the emperor gone and the hostages freed, the expeditionary force turned its attention to the imperial treasury and the church of Medine Alum. The extraction was massive in scale. It took 15 elephants and hundreds of mules just to carry the royal spoils down the mountain. The haul included royal gold crowns, material evidence of sovereign power. They also seized ancient Gia's manuscripts, removing the empire's written history. On the plains below, the army held a 2-day auction to distribute the plunder. Holmes used the British Museum's unlimited budget to outbid the officers for the rarest items. In the space of 48 hours, the British Empire successfully decapitated the material and historical record of the Ethiopian state. Beyond the gold and manuscripts, the British focused on a specific class of object, the tabots. In the Ethiopian church, a tabot is a sacred tablet representing the Ark of the Covenant. It is the literal heart of the sanctuary. Without it, the building cannot function. The precision with which Holmes and Napier targeted these tablets has led researchers to suggest the British were searching for something specific, the original Ark of Aksum, or the ancient maps describing its hidden location. This diagram shows the structural role of the tabot. When the British extracted these tablets, they effectively dismantled the spiritual infrastructure of the empire. Napier and Holmes left Magdala with the theological foundations of Ethiopia in their cargo holds. The Royal Navy fleet transported the relics directly to Imperial processing ports in London. Most of the plunder ended up here, in the high-security archives of the British Museum. While the crowns and manuscripts are studied by academics, the tabots are kept in a secure basement room that is permanently closed to the public and the museum's own curators. There is one exception. Only ordained priests of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church are legally granted access to this room for prayer. For a secular Western institution, this represents a unique legal anomaly. The museum provides these objects a level of religious exclusivity and secrecy that it does not afford to any other artifact in its collection. The British government has spent decades resisting calls to return the tabots, citing legal loopholes like the 1863 British Museum Act to maintain its grip on the collection. This creates a historical duality: Ethiopia's narrative of ancient spiritual protection versus the British record of calculated industrial acquisition. The Trail of the Ark now exists in 2 distinct places: the monastic chapels of Aksum and the climate-controlled vaults of London. Both sites treat these objects not as relics of the past, but as active sources of power. The content presented here is for educational purposes regarding material culture and 19th century military history. The sites discussed are under strict international security protocols, and unauthorized access carries severe legal consequences.